What's up, everybody? A lot of people ask why so many truck drivers are leaving the industry. And it has a lot to do with the clash between regulation and demand put on the truck driver. But one of the leading causes is, as a truck driver, you're expected to be responsible for everything and everyone around you. I mean, thanks to dash cams, we're finally being vindicated. But under the Biden administration, they did I don't know, maybe it started under Trump, but the government did a investigation starting in 2020, May or June, till around December or so of 2022. There was 40,000 accidents involving big trucks like this one. And I'm trying to find the report now, and I'm having a hard time finding it. I didn't save the link, but it's buried. It's completely buried. You know why? Because they're putting more regulations on truck drivers now. And they're putting more of the bearing of weight on truck drivers. And you know why they're doing it? Because out of that 40,000 accidents involving trucks, only 4% were the fault of truck drivers. The government did the study. It's witness reports, dash cams, and people don't realize it, but your car, most cars since the mid-90s have a black box in them. So they tell everything you have been doing in your car. Now all cars have black boxes in them. And if you have a GPS built into your car, it's even more. It will tell exactly what you were doing, when you were making erratic lane changes and all that stuff. Just like these trucks. These trucks have all that in it. So you have all that data as well. And it turns out of it was over 40,000 accidents. Only 4% of those accidents are the fault of the truck driver on any level, whether it's 10% or 100%. 96% of the time, the truck driver is not at fault at all. But yet you have people like AOC, they get up on their platform, Miss Pelosi, get up on their platform, Chuck Schumer gets up on their platform, and they blame us. They blame us for what 96% of passenger vehicles are doing. Why would you stay in there? I'm trying to get out of it. All I want to do is survive for the next 1 to 2 years so I can get out of this business. I'm not saying all truck drivers are great truck drivers. I've seen them. I actually have a video that I have to edit it because it's hours long. So I have to cut out that little clip that's, about 2 minutes long of a truck driver trying to run me off the freaking road. I'm going up a hill. I'm in the right lane. Literally, in this truck, my brand new truck. My truck didn't even have 5,000 miles on it yet. And I had to get on the brakes and on the shoulder of the road because White Volvo Mafia strikes again. Tried running me off. He did run me off the road, but he tried hitting me. Tried taking out my brand new truck. But he's the rare exception. I have hours and hours and hours of video of the dumb things people do in their cars in front of us. And some of it isn't even, there's some things that aren't completely the fault of people in passenger vehicles. For example, one of the problems is when you get a driver's license, one of the things you're taught is when you're passing a vehicle, give 2 car lengths, then get in front of the vehicle. That is completely wrong. That is absolutely wrong. It's not 2 car lengths. It's 2 vehicle lengths of the vehicle you're passing. There's actually a video out on, there's a video on YouTube. A cop just cuts off a truck, and the truck driver blows his horn at the cop. And then the cop gets upset. And the cop starts yelling at the truck driver. And you know what the cop said to the truck driver? There was a car length in between me and you. These new trucks, my truck, if that cop did that to my truck that I'm in right now, you know what my truck's going to do? It's going to get on the brakes and it's going to blow the horn itself. It actually does it. I've seen it do it. When someone gets that close to me, a car length, my truck gets on the brakes and it blows the horn itself. I don't have to do anything. It does it all on its own. Because I need 2 vehicle lengths minimum. Do you know what it takes to stop this truck? It varies. There's different things that come into play here, but on average, it takes, with these new trucks, 300 feet. That's a football field to stop from 60 to 0. I need 300 feet. That means if you pull in front of me and you leave me 50 feet and you blow out a tire, I can't stop in time. 50 feet is 2 car lengths. That's, like I said, that's one of the things that you can't blame on the passenger vehicle drivers, because you're not being properly educated how to drive on the road. I mean, part of it, I'm a legacy driver. I didn't decide to start driving truck till I got older. Originally, I was following my mom's footsteps and I was working in management. But my father, my whole life, my father drove trucks. So, you know, some of these things, I've just always inherently knew them because they were taught to me from a young age on. And I didn't realize how that you're not, that when you take your, it never even dawned on me when I took my road test for my regular driver's license that it said 2 car lengths, not 2 vehicle lengths. That never even crossed my mind. But even that's not even the you know, with trucks, with these big trucks, you really should be giving us 3 to 4 vehicle lengths before you pull in front of us. Because here's the problem. Let's say it's raining. If it's raining and my truck is loaded, I can stop within 300 feet. If it's raining and my truck is empty, I need almost 600 feet to stop. My ex-wife got in the truck with me one time. And with our luck, it had to be that it was raining on our way back from making our delivery. My truck was empty. And I saw the light way ahead turn red. So I started to try to slow down. At this time, it was back in 2010. I was in an older truck. Every time I hit the brakes, the truck slid. Every time I so much as touched the brakes, the truck slid. And I was in one of them areas. It's on US 17, north of Green Cove Springs, where you have them really long lights there, where you can see the light turn red a mile ahead of you, and when you get to it, it's still red. I almost slid through the light. And I was over a half a mile away from the light. The truck just kept sliding. Florida, it's not like up north. The southern states, there's a problem with if you don't get long periods of rain, and then all of a sudden it rains and all the oils come up, and it's what we call southern ice. It's basically southern ice. But you get it in the summer. But that's what you're on. You're on a sheet of ice because the oil comes up and you can't stop. You can't stop a car either. Stopping a car is a nightmare even. I can't haul them anymore because they changed the law. I think 6 or 7 years ago they changed the law. But I used to haul these big containers. They're these big containers with these steel cages, and they're these drums, and they're filled with liquid. But they're these big square drums, and they're filled with liquid. And I used to go to someplace in New Mexico, and I used to get them all the time. So I'm experienced with hauling them. But when you haul those, even in this truck, if I was hauling them in this truck, to go from 60 to 0, I would probably need close to 500 feet to stop. The reason why is because the forward momentum. As the liquid moves like this forward, it's just like being in a tank truck. That's why you need the tanker endorsement now. I don't have a tanker endorsement. But I am experienced with them, so I know how to handle them. So if I got my tanker endorsement, I wouldn't have any problem with driving with them. But every time the liquid comes forward, it pushes the truck. So instead of slowing down, when the liquid starts sloshing backwards, the truck starts slowing down. And then, even though you're still on the brake, when the liquid comes forward, the truck actually picks up speed again. It only picks up a couple miles an hour, something like 5 miles an hour, but still, picking up 5 miles an hour when you're slowing down, that adds. So your liquid's going like this here, and every time it comes forward, you're picking back up speed. It takes about 450 feet in dry conditions to stop a truck with that in the box. So, trucks aren't like cars at all. And one of the funniest things is, like I said, one of the biggest things is people think an empty truck, you should be able to stop on a dime. No. The hardest truck to stop is an empty truck. Even a box truck. That is the hardest truck to stop, is the empty truck. An empty flatbed, you see a flatbed, you're thinking, I could cut him off and slam on my brakes. That won't be a big deal. He can stop on a dime. No, he cannot stop on a dime. It takes longer to stop the empty truck because the trucks are designed to stop with weight on them. But nobody's taught any of this. Only the professional drivers are taught. But like I said, the problem is, now, they know we're not the problem. I mean, dash cams have become a nightmare for lawyers. Lawyers fought to get the dash cams in trucks. Lawyers want dash cams out of trucks now. Lawyers lose the ambulance chasing industry. They're losing billions of dollars a year because they fought to get dash cams in trucks. Because once the dash cams got in the trucks, it was almost immediate. Any company that put dash cams in their trucks, they were found not at fault. Prior to the dash cams, they were being found at fault about 80% of the time. Once dash cams got put in trucks, they were being found at fault a minimum of 70%, not at fault, a minimum of 70% of the time. Most companies, 80% of times. The company I was working for, we were averaging almost 90% of the time not at fault once we put dash cams in the truck. Prior to that, we were found at fault for almost every accident prior to that. Automatically. It was always our fault. We could have eyewitnesses and it was still our fault. Once they put the dash cams in, it was over 85%. It was something like 87 or 88% not at fault for every truck that had a dash cam in it. And then they put the dash cams fleet wide. Now the company's something like 91, 92% not at fault. But 96% of the accidents on the highway involving one of these trucks, somehow or another, a passenger vehicle is involved with it. The majority of it. It's probably, of that 96%, you probably have a 2 or 3 percentage points that are the fault of another truck driver. Just like I said, there are bad truck drivers out here. I'm not telling you that every truck driver under the sun is a saint. There are bad truck drivers out here. And unfortunately, because the government puts so much pressure on truck drivers, you have truck drivers like me who are multi-million mile truck drivers. I have one accident in 2 million miles. The irony is that I made it 1 million miles accident free. Then I had a accident at an intersection with a car hiding underneath my fender. It was a low speed accident. So it's what you would call a fender bender, parking lot type style accident. And I'm going on my second 1 million mile now with no accidents again. So pretty much in 2 million miles, I've had one accident. And like I said, it was a low speed accident. It was in traffic, at a traffic light, heavy congestion. And there's some dispute as to whether or not I was at fault. I took the blame. I thought I was at fault because it was a black car and there was a black car behind me. When I looked in the mirror, I saw the black car back there so that I can merge over. It wound up being two of the same cars, same color. And when I looked in front of me, there was room. And he just happened to be hiding right there underneath my fender. And there's something that he said in the report that our insurance company actually thinks he did it on purpose. Even though I took the blame for it, I took responsibility for it from the get-go, always thought I was responsible for it. It was the insurance company that told me it might have not actually been my fault, but since I took the fault, there's nothing they could do about it. But there was something in the report that had something to do with he saw my turn signal, and so he decided to come forward, but instead of passing the truck, he just lingered there. But he admitted that he saw my turn signal and came up forward and advanced forward instead of staying either in line set of my mirror or passing me where there was plenty of room to get ahead of me for him. So, but that's the only at-fault accident I've ever had in a truck. And most truck drivers, that's the way it is. Most truck drivers, they get millions of miles without an accident. But the government is chasing people like me out of the industry because it's just too overwhelming anymore. It's like, for example, they put these ELDs in our truck. They're called electronic logging devices. I'm not actually against the electronic logging devices. And there's a lot of pushback from the trucking community against these electronic logging devices. But the irony is, it's because of the way the government set everything up. If the government really cared about safety, these are not about safety, that's the problem. If it was about safety, like Chuck Schumer likes to say, like AOC likes to say, like Nancy Pelosi likes to say, like, wasn't Jeb Bush part of the push of that also? So there's Republicans out there as well. They like to say this is all about safety. If this was about safety, then why didn't they fix the regulations that were causing truck drivers to fudge the logbooks in the first place? It was a very simple fix. You put these in the truck, you say, this is about safety. And to make sure that the driver can remain safe, put 2 lines in the rules. 2 simple rules. 1 sentence each. The first rule, The truck driver schedules delivery after loaded. Almost every truck driver who's ever fudged his logbooks, they were fudging the logbooks because we take a load with plenty of time to get to where we're going. We wind up getting delayed for unreasonable amounts of time at the shipper. And the only way to make the load is to fudge the logbooks. And we have no control over that. Now, there's going to be some pushback, especially from the big mega carriers. They're going to say that's not true. The mega carriers have in their contracts that they're allowed to schedule loads for driver safety. In the spot market, if you put that in your contract, you can't get the load. But the mega carriers won't let you know that. They'll just tell you what they do. But they won't tell you the truth. If you put in your contract while trying to get a load, driver has the right to reschedule a load for driver safety, you won't get the load. So the government could have just simply put that rule in when they made these ELDs mandatory. And that would have fixed that problem. The other problem, everybody likes to say, oh, it's snowing, the driver shouldn't be on the road. First of all, we're actually the ones skilled enough to be out there, like the post office, snow, sleet, rain, sunshine, deliver on time. Like the post office used to say. But the government could have fixed that problem too. The government could have put in the rule, just like for airlines, the driver reserves the right to reschedule a load for weather safety concerns without being fined. We get fined. If I got up in the morning and there's 2 inches of ice on the road, and I try to reschedule my delivery, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to have to pay a $150 fine, $200 fine, sometimes a $350 fine, $400 fine to the receiver they call it a rescheduling fee. It's really a fine. It's a fine for daring to put my safety and the safety of the motorists on the highways around me first. It's a punishment for being safety conscious, is what it really is. But the government doesn't care about safety. The government doesn't care about addressing safety. Because like I said, they just did this whole investigation. And what they do, what's happened with the report, it's been very quietly released. You didn't hear AOC getting up on her podium saying, oh my God, this is crazy. We got all these people in these cars are causing all these accidents with these trucks. And 96% of the time, these people out here in their cars are getting people killed. No, of course not. Because that would address safety. That would actually address the reality of what's going on the highways. My truck tells me how fast people are going in front of me. I've been going through work zones, 45 mile an hour work zones. And I got people in front of me doing 85, 90, 95, 100 miles an hour. My truck tells me how fast they're going. It has a radar built into it, just like a cop car. It tells me exactly how fast traffic in front of me is going. Are there trucks? Yeah, there's trucks as well. I see, like I said, not saying every truck driver in the world is perfect. I can think of, what is it? Is it Indiana? There's a lot of the construction zones. Trucks use left lane only. Now, granted, I can see where there might be a case where it's pouring rain out, it's dark out, weather conditions, you can't see clear, and you would miss the sign. But most of the time, it's clear, sunny, daytime, or clear at night, but you can see the signs very clearly. And I got trucks passing me. You're in a 55 mile an hour speed zone, and I got trucks passing me 75 miles an hour on the right. I got cars passing me 85, 90 miles an hour on the right. And they're all looking at me like I'm the one doing something wrong. I get people in the cars flipping me the birds as they're passing. Because I'm so high and mighty. Look at me. I know how to read. I'm literate. I'm making fun of all of you. That's the way they're acting. Or, I'm so high and mighty. I'm not out here trying to murder your children and your family and your parents. How dare I not try to kill your loved ones? That's what they get upset about. So, it's just ridiculous. And it's only going to get worse because more and more drivers like myself are getting out of this industry because it's just all I want to do. Every day I get up, I say, all I need to do, I just need to survive a little bit longer. Right now, I'd be out of the industry already if I could. I have an alimony issue that I got to take care of. Once that is cleaned up, I am done. If something happens where I can pay off my alimony tomorrow, I'm paying my alimony off tomorrow. I'm turning in my CDL, and I'm letting the court know I'm no longer working. But my alimony's paid off, so I'm fine. I'm going to be all good and dandy. But that's all I'm waiting for, just to get, as soon as my alimony's paid off, I'm ready to leave. And the thing is, I work for a great company. I love the company I work for. It has nothing to do with the people I'm working for. It's the people we deal with every day. And all I want to do is survive it. And because drivers like me are leaving this industry like cockroaches dodging the light, you're going to get more and more bad truck drivers out here because the government doesn't care about safety. It refuses to address the real problem on the highway. They just absolutely refuse to address it. And they just want to put all the burden on us.